goodness, Monkley with the dodge.
What a beautiful charge dash from Meldon to save that bastard.
Is that bastard?
Oh my god.
Oh my god, this guy.
Milden gets it.
Oh, this is fine. What a save!
Oh
my god!
Welcome back, everyone. Siki, I have to say, every time I watch that intro, I just have to think about what like new little audio clips of memes we can grab from commentators.
Yeah,
Next
I
intro.
agree. Just for the montage intro.
Yeah, if you play any audio clip like that over and over, it becomes like iconic. It becomes really fun. But anyway, welcome back to Ori. We have, I think, a total of 3 matches today, unless I read the schedule wrong, but hopefully I didn't. The first match here we have is number 5 Willson versus number 21 Rory, and on commentary, I'm Grimelius, and I'm joined by Sikinar. So I guess, yeah, I already said hi to you, but do you want to sort of kick us off here with what this match is all about?
Sure. Yeah, this match, I believe this is a it's gonna be a lower bracket match. So which means that this match is slightly higher stakes. It's going to be a 1 loss, and then this is actually going to be the end of one of these runners for the tournament. But it's I think it'll be interesting. There is a differential in the PBs here. So Willson having a 28 PB, and then Rory having a 32.43, both really good times. It'll mean that we can expect a possible gap, throughout the race. But
That's right.
as Rory's, or yeah.
Yeah, so to jump through some more information apart from their PBs, which Siki just talked about. As you can see, both runners on keyboard mouse. Just given the PBs, that's sort of the most important bullet point here, especially their seed numbers. Willson was actually the world record holder in this category when the tournament started. And although he has since lost that, he's still, I think, second place. I mean, that time of 28.49 or 20.45, although that's technically unrecorded, I think is just absurd. So we have already seen Willson upset once in this tournament by Oshi. So as we always like to say, anything could happen in Ori. It is certainly within the realm of possibility that Rory could pull out a victory here, but it's pretty apparent from the numbers that in order for Rory to win, Rory is going to have to play like a god. By his own estimation, he said he was probably going to have to PB by like a minute or more. And at the same time, Rory is going to need Willson to make some pretty catastrophic errors in his play.
Yeah, and that being said, Rory, it sounds like he's not going to really pull any punches here. He's noted that he will be going for things like crazy juggle, which is fairly advanced. He's going to have backups in the case that Fast Accomplice doesn't go well, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be altering his strats in the name of safety too much. Willson did mention that he had some reservations about his late game. He might be playing some stuff safe. Very understandable when your MO is to go for advanced stuff, like someone at the 28 would do. So
yeah, I mean, it's difficult. We've talked about differences in PBs multiple times in this tournament. And we will be getting kicked off shortly, by the way, but like the raw difference in someone's personal best or the personal best between two runners is not the end of the story. If someone has a 44 and someone else has a 40, at that point I would pretty much call that an even 50-50 matchup. But these times at sub 29 versus sub 33, that differential is much more meaningful, because to get down to those lower times requires such meticulous optimization of every single part of the game, and that's something that Willson has done and Rory just has not done as much yet. So Rory certainly has a battle ahead of him to win this.
Mm-hmm. Looks like they're kicking off. Both getting really good prelude skips. Rory getting one just a few frames faster. So
I think it's pretty much all over for Willson at this point. Those frames.
Yeah, I don't believe there's really a way to recover from that, but we'll find out.
Also,
nice.
I love these colors. Like every time you do a color code, of course, the color that you get is random, but these colors are very vibrant. They kind of stick out from the background.
And they are rather complimentary too. This is very pleasing.
It is. It is. They kind of look like sweet tarts.
I was thinking, I'm getting a bit of a sweet tooth right now.
Yeah.
Wilson opting for a different shade. He wasn't satisfied with that pink.
That
It's an
color
interesting
is
play on his part.
It is, especially because Wilson kind of blends into the background now. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. It's for tournaments. Color code there's an inherent risk there. If you get a dark color in some parts, you can't really see Ori, but
There absolutely is. So coming into this Frankie fight, remember both Wilson and Roryrai are playing on keyboard and mouse, and the mouse part of that equation allows them to do this. You see these just super quick volleys of 2 shots. Although actually, no, I was wrong. It looks like Rory is pacing.
yeah, he's going to be pacing. I believe he left the middle one alive going into the second, but it didn't take too long for him to snag that one really quick and then recover that, losing no more than maybe a second or so.
Right. The total time lost from that is, I think, less important than just the mental annoyance of like, it just feels annoying to miss a shot on the Frankie.
Yeah, because it's within the first minute. So Wilson did take a hit before the bounce, but it looks like his health management is still okay. He's aware that he had picked up a health, so he actually opted for another damage there, placing him at the optimal level here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll see. We'll hopefully see no unintended deaths. I want every single death in this run to be intended. Looks like Rory had slight issues with that slime as well. Had to wait a moment and kill it, so that's going to lose an additional second or two.
Both of them getting the 1 health ghost store though, which is optimal. Wilson did mention he's going for the 3 health wall jump here. Slightly more advanced and a little riskier because you don't have that safety going in there, but I don't expect that to be big trouble for him.
That's right. I also want to quickly point out why Wilson is going for 3 HP. Apart from being faster, it's because, as Wilson said, Ella would laugh at him if we went for 4, which means if Wilson has any deaths as a result of 3 health, it is entirely Ella's fault.
Yeah, I think that's very safe to say.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Wilson is dropping down. He's going to level up on the way up. You saw him just quickly check his UI, whereas Rory, I would expect him to level on the way down, since I think he even got some extra XP from the Frankie earlier.
Yeah, from what I can tell, he did pick up, and I think he adapted that rather well because he actually opted to avoid picking up the majority of the flower experience. I don't know if that was a tactical decision. I believe still setting up for a late level up, similar to Wilson here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it turns out we were both wrong, and they're both going to level up on the way up. Thankfully, that doesn't really lose any time. The only real difference in leveling up on the way up or the way down has to do with experience. Since, like, pay attention to Wilson on the left. He's about to grab some experience from the flower. He will level up and take out a whole bunch of little purple bad guys at the same time, and they'll all just drop a sea of experience for him to pick up, which will be useful for the slime genocide route, which I have to assume Wilson goes for since it is faster.
Yeah, it's faster. It's a lot of mental math. I believe a lot of management things can vary to some extent, which is why it's more advanced, but also the payoff is pretty great. So.
That's right. So in the early game here, so we see a name change from Wilson. Wilson has certainly taken a pretty nice early lead. This is primarily due to the fact that Wilson skipped the 4th health cell, so that alone saves like 6 or 7 seconds or whatever it is. But Rory also had some slight movement flubs. He sort of missed one jump here, missed a shot on the Frankie in the early fight. So Wilson has to repeat myself, I suppose, certainly has a nice lead here going into Black River Arrows.
I think above all else, I think in the early game it's more trivial to lose time than to mitigate unintentional deaths. I think that's one of the bigger things. You can tank a few hits here and there as long as you keep on moving, because a death here can be really punishing.
That's right. I will kind of make a general note as we kind of start to come into BRB. Wilson told us that he's not rusty or anything. He's gotten a few practice runs in, but I think that overall, Wilson's practice time for this category and for Ori in general has been a little bit more limited than many other runners. And so Wilson said that he's probably expecting to go for some more safety, probably more in the late game than the early game. And there isn't a huge amount of safety you actually can take in Black River if you want enough energy to make the saves where you need to. But sort of as the race continues, do keep an eye out for some safety saves from Willson here and there.
Yeah, energy management and in this area is really limited because you are this year, you're at your lowest energy count in this beginning part, only 2, so you really can't afford, considering there's going to be 1 tactical energy use at the end, leaving you with very little wiggle room.
I like that term, tactical energy. It's very appropriate. And it is one of the reasons that the speedrun is both very interesting and also quite difficult sometimes, because I actually am a big fan of Ori's save system. It sort of puts the risk-reward factor on the player to make saves when they want to, for the most part, although there are also autosaves in the world. But in the speedrun, that means that since we also have to use our energy for other purposes, you are often very, very limited in where you can take safety saves without losing at least a little bit of time.
I think that's why it really sets it apart from a lot of other Metroidvanias, because there's a resource management aspect that is, always been a little unique to Ori.
That's right. Willson in this dash room did get his nice cycle. By the way, he'll be heading up to this lever. No issue so far for Willson that I've seen anyway. In a moment, he'll be making a save to skip his darkness cutscene, and I don't know if Willson goes for the new cutscene stack. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, that I'm similarly not aware. It's a lot harder. I think it saves about 2 seconds over the old strat and requires some blind movement, but nothing runners aren't familiar with.
That's right. It's just one more risk factor, and as if Blackbird Burrows wasn't scary enough already, it looks like Willson went for the more traditional cutscene skip, so he'll be making it to dash first. We'll kind of pay attention. Looks like Willson got there at about a 7:02, which is a pretty disgusting time. And I mean,
yeah,
that
pretty incredible.
Yeah. Also want to point out that what I said before was wrong. Willson did not go for genocide, which might kind of play into the aspect of playing it a little bit safer, since doing genocide is riskier than the normal strats.
Coming up for Willson, Rory getting a 7:28 dash, still very good, below 7. The Willson starting the Frankie walk here, which the next couple of minutes are going to be...
They're going to be something.
They're going to be a thing. And Willson almost losing the aggro on that Frankie. The reason this area is scary is because you can't really afford to do any safety saves barring, average drop luck. And
Wilson killed his frog early, down at the bottom, has to reload all the way back to dash. Rory is now in the lead.
Yeah, this is why this area is so intense, because you can... Losing the Frankie there or having to restart sets you all the way back at the dash tree. I'll take the blame for that one, because it seems like I was bringing it up the moment that
oh no,
early Frankie did.
It happened again. Did Rory?
Rory did manage to save it, which his cursor movement there, he looked like he was a little frazzled there, but he pulled it off.
My mouth is agape. I can't believe he saved that. GG by Rory. That would have immediately swapped leads again, but now Rory's going to the gauntlet instead, so Rory is still in the lead. Very nicely done.
That was a fantastic play on his part, trying to recover that.
Well, okay, let's pay attention to Willson then. This time David kills Frog in the air, so Wilson's going to head through the Death Gauntlet as well. Willson only has 3 health as opposed to 4, although I doubt that'll cause too many issues. There he goes under the Frankie.
Yeah, they'll likely put him at, not enough health here. You can do another strat here to dash over these blobs, but it's rather risky, especially when you're on low health. So.
That's right. Now, although Rory is in first place, he did unfortunately miss his Grotto Cycle, which costs 8 seconds since these crushers move pretty slowly. Apparently, the Gumons or whatever need to upgrade their hydraulic systems to make these things move faster. If Willson can get this, that'll substantially close the gap.
So he did, and that did, close the gap by about 8 seconds or so, which is almost what the difference is. We're going to see them, within, I want to say, no more than like 15 seconds of each other.
I mean, I'll say this, Roy, for his part, has been playing just fine so far. I mean, not as clean as Willson, but to play as clean as Willson, I mean, there's very few people on the planet who can actually do that. So it's good news for Rory that Willson had the mistake. If Willson makes additional mistakes, as we said, Rory could absolutely win this thing by the end.
Yeah, the thing with Rory, it was noted in the stats that his consistency is rather high according to the statistics. So Hopefully that'll pay off.
Willson, by the way, during his blind movement, took a dip in the poison water, so he's going to have to be careful. But with that, we're coming up to grotto skip for Rory. See if he can get it nice and clean. Going right off the wall. Did miss it and fell all the way down. That's going to be a bit of time loss.
And unfortunately missing the log once more after missing.
And just like that, we have a lead change. Willson got a very, very fast first try, and Rory actually got the trick directly after Willson, but Willson, just like that, caught up. They're both exiting and reloading at the same time. We basically have a tie game again.
Yeah, this is, within a second. This area is just a lot of optimized wall climbing, just the difference between clean wall climbing and not can, raise the gap even more. Willson having no trouble on this climb. Rory having little to no mistakes, so...
That's right, and this is where a lot of the differences between some of these... I hesitate to use the term top runner because that implies that Rory is not a top runner, but you know what I mean. The runners at Wilson's caliber, you'll see these tiny little movement optimizations. Every single wall jump is just going to be so quick. He's going to be going for all these tiny little optimizations, like even climbing up that wall before water pain, he kind of jumped around to the left side. Here you see Willson just having a little bit of trouble with these walls, so I would expect Willson to probably increase his lead before he gets to the next dungeon.
Yeah, a lot of the optimizers in the first half, before you have a lot of abilities, are going to be, micro optimizations that they add up.
That's right. Willson quickly died, but thankfully made a safety save, which is a very common safety save to make for pretty much that reason, and the fact that your energy gets refilled when you level up anyway.
I think we're gonna be, if I'm correct here, we're gonna be seeing both of them skip the ability cell here, going into Jinzo, on account of they're both gonna be opting for the crazy juggle, which I think saves one.
Have we had any races, Sicky, that you know of where we've had double crazy juggle? Yeah.
I was just thinking that, I don't really know if we have, not that I've seen, so this will be interesting. It's nice because the differential doesn't change really greatly going into Jinzo, because it looks really significant going into the beginning, and it's kind of hard to get an idea of the pace until, Sorrow Pass, but for now, this is going to be, the gap is going to be very, clear cut, is what I'll say.
That's right. So Willson is the first into this giant tree, and he's going to be trying to work his way through the first two rooms without taking any nasty falls. Rory is still not far behind, primarily due to that Frankie walk mistake by Willson. We also see Willson pulling off almost perfect telehops. I think that probably, if not save time, it probably came out about even. I doubt we'll see Rory going for that because it's a bit of a silly strat, but although it does save time, it's hard. It's hard to do it fast enough to save time.
Yeah, the gamer room is it's cycle based, and it can be punishing if you fail it because it means falling to the bottom of this large area, meaning you have to reclimb. Willson entering the redirect puzzle room here, which is a bit of downtime. It's not really much you can do to optimize it, but Rory, they're in the same room at the same time, which means the gap is still very close.
I would say that the mini boss is another opportunity for Rory to gain back some time, but I doubt Willson will have any issues. He's going to be going for at least 8, hopefully 10 volleys per shot here. He's also going to be trying to carefully track where the thing is going to spawn and position himself to prevent solo spawns in the future. Did catch up one. That was a 4 cycle.
That was pretty optimal there, getting a lot of those 5 hits. Rory going to be spacing the shots as we noticed in the beginning, but you can still land really good shots if your spacing is right.
I want to take a moment and emphasize how impressive that is. Very few people can get 4 cycles, much less in a race setting like this. That's very impressive by Willson.
Yeah, getting that, kind of on the fly in a race is not easy.
Well, it does match the prediction. It was not a point where Rory could gain back some time. So Willson has made it to Bash, and Rory will be getting there after this room, and then one more after. He's going to try to intentionally damage himself down. So here's where we get to see Bash in action in all its puzzle-solving, redirecting sort of glory. I guess the next thing for Willson is key dupe. The tricks just kind of fly by in this game. It's always like, oh, well, here's what we're doing now. Here's what we're doing now.
Yeah, it's hard to really keep up, especially with Willson, because he doesn't give you any time to talk about it.
I've said this before. It's harder to commentate people that are this fast. There just isn't time.
Yeah, too true. Willson going for the slightly faster setup, actually getting a double bash and killing that bottom one, which means he can set up his save one level higher than some other approaches do. Just
By the way,
saving that much more.
Yep, Willson did get a nice clean key dupe, and Roy will be coming up to place his safe shortly. We did have a 32-second delta at bash, just to give some concrete numbers to this situation. So Willson on the left, still in the lead, which is not too unexpected at this point in the run, I would say.
Yeah, coming into the second half, because we have more abilities, there's just the skill ceiling just increases more and more as this run continues. So Rory also getting a good key dupe.
I always like that strategy. On keyboard mouse, usually the way that people do that trick is that they aim their mouse at a particular location. Makes it I hesitate to use the word free. That word gets thrown out so much, but it's a little bit free, which is kind of nice. It's one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, the cursor is is a really nice visual cue for a lot of stuff. So Wilson's approaching the swamp entry, opting for the blind movement out of this cutscene, which saves about a second if he lands pretty close to the frog, which he does. He's right there. Having to repeat that, unfortunately, because that frog did fall in the water, which means he's not able to exploit its projectiles.
That's right. These frogs are apparently less amphibian than we might hope in this kind of situation.
Yeah, it's a little ironic, isn't it? They can't swim.
Yep. So Roy's up there the second time. Nice double bash to get it across. We'll also see him doing the double bash method to get through it, and I would expect to see Rory do the same. Rory is also opting for blind movement. We sort of have double swamp entries. Beautiful, not a first try by Willson since he killed the frog, but a beautiful second attempt once he got through there. We'll see if Rory can pull this off first try. I hope so.
Yeah, we're getting a good initial setup here. I'm not sure if he's going to go for the double bash method. Looks like he will be, which this is slightly more optimal. It can be a little scary because the projectiles just kind of do what they want sometimes.
That's a little bit unlucky. Roy tried to do a double dash, but hit the cell and then hit the ground, which means that Roy got stuck in the cell animation, missed the shot, and then the Froggy decided to go for an afternoon stroll over to the left, so he had to wait for it to come back. Certainly not the swamp entry that Roy would have hoped for, and is now having some issues with his double bashing, so this is letting Willson run away with this just a little bit more with every second. Rory is now through, though, so he'll be heading over to Stomp as well.
Yeah, I was thinking possibly the gap could have closed because of Wilson's death, but it seems like Rory didn't capitalize on it as much as he possibly could have. Although,
I have to say, Siki, although Willson is in first place, he is having a fair number of issues, which is not entirely unexpected, just given the level of play that Willson plays at, and the fact that by his own admission, he's maybe a little bit rustier than he would hope for. But I mean, we had the frog like that earlier. Wilson is now able to bring the frog here twice, getting up to the cell.
Yeah, this ability cell here, yeah, like you said, yeah, just opting for advanced strat means there's like a high possibility of errors.
That's right. Well, speaking of hopefully not errors, here's a curve cutscene skip for Willson over on the left. Gets through just fine. Remember that if you miss that cutscene skip, it's an instantaneous 17-second time loss or something like that. Pretty costly if you miss it.
To be honest, I don't know, you bring up this cutscene, I'm not really sure what you're talking about. I was not aware there was a cutscene there.
Maybe it was a fever dream, and it's since been patched out or something. Who knows? Wilson died on the left side, took a bath in the spikes. He's back to Kuro. Cutscene skip and died 2 more quick times. Rory is now only seconds behind. Holy
yeah,
cow.
Rory, if he gets this first try, he's right behind his tail. Assuming he can get this, which... He misses the curl cutscene skip. I think he seems confident enough in his consistency to opt to just try again as opposed to watching the cutscene, which he does. So that actually saves more time than watching the cutscene. So that was a good play on Rory. He knew his abilities at that trick, and he said he could, get it again if he had another shot.
This is what we talked about at the start of the race, right? Rory's best chance at winning is if Willson makes a lot of mistakes. And that has kind of been what's happening. And it's not that Wilson's play hasn't been, super clean in many other spots, but the deaths that Willson have been pretty costly overall.
Yeah, and you know, because Rory, you know, he's not struggling per se with a lot of these strats. It means that he's not having to repeat too many things, which is helping him quite a bit.
See, even here, so Rory's just getting the charge flame, but Willson did not quite get his frog down, so he had to not only go all the way around, just lost a few seconds, but had to burn half an energy, or was it a full energy at that point? To no, it was half an energy.
Yeah, that would have been a half for the. Yeah, so yeah, simply going around that, you know, that takes about, you know, upwards of 10 seconds, depending on your movement. So the gap just closes ever more. Rory getting a really good charge flame and, you know, SA going into that coaching skip.
That's right, and if you don't believe us, by the way, about the gap closing and whatnot, back at the Stomp Tree, there was a 53-second delta between Willson and Rory. At charge flame, it was down to 17. So we certainly still have a race on our hands. It's by no means decided.
Coming up here, I think it's safe to assume that, yeah, Willson will be going for fast accomplice here. Rory did make a point to mention that he will be. This trick to saving a little bit more time than getting the cell prior to activating this cutscene. That looked like a, you know, pretty textbook shot. I'd wager that should work. Getting a good setup for the bashes. Yeah, having no trouble with fast accomplice there.
Rory's on the shot, didn't get it the first try. When Rory does get this shot, I'm gonna decline to comment on how good it is because I can't. I'm terrible at it. But I hope the shot's good. Rory is gonna rush away and try to get to the cell. Decides to damage boost up there rather than getting this, and got it. Good.
Yeah, and getting a really good shot there. So he did set it up a couple times, but yeah, he because he knew what was good and what wasn't good, and he made that judgment call to try it again until he got one that he knew was okay.
That's right. Well, Willson now has charge dash, which means things are about to get real fast. There's a rocket jump up top of Willson, Sour Bash, and I doubt we'll see him have any issues with it. This is generally considered the hardest trick in the run, but Willson is also one of the best, and so I think it's fine. There's the bird, and
having no trouble entering that. Sour Bash can be really finicky. It's really precise bashes, but
Roy did take damage as well. Yeah, so Roy coming into his Sour Bash is going to have to be a little bit careful. Honestly, it's not that big a deal, since everything kind of kills you really fast anyway. You can take a damage here, and it's really arbitrary, because going into Sour Bash, like, that doesn't change much. Yep, a nice Sour Bash by Roy. As we've been talking, Willson got a super clean Crazy Juggle. Didn't mess up a single one of those inputs, which is quite a bit harder than it looks. So good job by Willson. If he had missed that, that probably would have single-handedly given the lead to Roy right there. Roy is also going to be doing Crazy Juggle. As we said, I think this might be our first double Crazy Juggle match in the entire tournament, and so far, so good. Just has to be careful. No!
He's, unfortunately, managing the location of the frog can be really tough, and there are spikes there that will one-shot the frog, so not quite good. He opting for going for the backup frog here, which...
Yeah, we'll see if he Crazy Juggles this one. He is. Roy is not going to let the first frog's death deter him, and this one he has a little bit more leeway on, given that he has to take the frog a shorter amount of burn resistance. I have to say, I like from Rory that not only did he know the backup, but he executed it so perfectly. You know, the second that Roy called it, without hesitation, immediately C-dashed through the laser and just started his normal frog juggle. Well, it was still crazy. Willson, by the way, took a quick death on the left side. Again, remember that since we do Crazy Juggle, we do the Sunstone and Charge Jump trees in different order, rather than going Charge Jump first or going Charge Jump second. So that's what you see Willson doing now. And he's there. All these spikes are insta-kill. They'll be insta-kill for Rory as well, even with full health.
So, yeah, Rory finishing up the Sunstone, opting to grab a one of those, I believe it's like an energy little tank of sorts on the side.
That's a good enough word for it as any. So here Willson is leaving this area. You see Willson just turned his UI on because the dialogue to skip at the moments. Even us speedrunners sometimes like to see how much health and energy we have. I have to imagine that right now it's for energy reasons rather than for health reasons.
Yeah, going into Misty, energy management is really important, considering you can either go for safeties or go for fast stuff, and you want to know exactly what you can afford to do.
Now this is interesting. By the way, we had a 26-second delta at C jump. Thank you, Breeze. we mentioned earlier that Willson is probably going to be going for some additional safety overall. Misty Woods would be a prime location to do that, to make some additional safety saves, which is interesting. Willson did not make a safety save at the start of the area because I think he burned an energy. Now he's okay on energy, but he couldn't make a safety save at the beginning. Now he's out of energy, actually.
Yeah, luckily this ending part, the difference between... Oh, actually, yeah, opting to grab an energy crystal there so we can actually still change charge dashes, which, you know, probably makes up the time anyways, because charge bashing is just such an optimal way to travel.
Have you seen a safety save from Willson yet?
Other than the one after the first door leaf, I don't believe we've seen much.
Yeah, it's also very important to point out in terms of safety that Willson only has 3 health as opposed to 4. Which means that every single spike in Misty Woods will insta-kill Willson. Thankfully, Willson didn't have any issues getting to climb, albeit maybe just a hair slower than he would have liked. But Rory is still pretty much right on Wilson's heels.
Yeah, Rory doing a good job. I'm not aware of what Rory's you know, save routing here has been. I didn't notice if he had gone for any safeties either.
Well, here's where we get to see Ori really start to fly through this section. Wilson decided to not go for the meteor kick, I guess preserve one additional energy. As always, we're using most of our energy. Did burn.
Unfortunately, yes, spending that extra energy there, which means he's going into this area with 0. That's not terrible. He will be getting a quick refill, but depending on what he does, he'll spend those immediately for some faster strats.
When the tension point in this area is that if you die without safety saves, there's a safety save for Willson. I think that's a great decision because if Willson had died, I think if he died there without the safety save, that would have been back to climb.
Yeah, so that decision there was a good call. Gonna make this area. Let's see if he goes first. So he's gonna opt for the slower method going up to the meatball cave because doing the rocket jump there would spend his last energy, which would make the quick kill here on the worms a little harder.
That's right. And we are seeing quite a bit of safety out of Willson. No safety save before this mini-boss, though, which is fine. It just evaporated underneath his power, and Willson got the level up, which restores everything. Anyway, so Willson just got through the mini-boss, but Rory is going to be at the mini-boss in just a few seconds. This is still quite close.
Yeah, Rory's energy management was a little nicer there. He actually opted for the rocket jump that I mentioned, so that was going to be a significant time save for him. Or it did look like he got the level up. I saw him go for the energy crystal there. I wasn't sure what was happening, but
yeah. More importantly, Rory also got the nice quick kill, the same quick kill that Willson got. So Willson is now teleporting back to Black River as he's going to be heading down to, I think it's technically Lost Grove is where Light Grenade lives. And Rory's going to come out there as well. We're sort of in a similar situation where we've been at multiple points in the run now, where if Willson takes any deaths to these lasers or anything, that could let Rory catch up.
Yeah, it is the same matter of, you know, consistency versus, you know, advanced strats, high risk, high reward. Willson going for the save anywhere setup prior to the beams, but still getting Yoka cycle, so that's really good for him.
Well, this is closer than I expected, and that's a very, very good thing because it makes it exciting. Willson does have a comfortable enough lead that he can afford still a little bit of safety and stay ahead of Rory, but not a lot of safety. I mean, between, I don't know, probably the beginning of Valley and here, Rory's play has been straight up better than Wilson's, and that's why Rory has been able to close the gap.
Yeah, and Rory, it's capitalizing on some of these mistakes by playing at his best, which means he's not making it, you know, by any stretch of the imagination, like an easy time for Willson.
That's right, making Willson work for it. There you see Willson pick up health cell number 4 for Rory. That would health cell number 5, and Vicky agrees. Rory apparently golded that by 4 seconds. Unfortunately, touched the laser, but did rekindle his save.
Not a bad death by any means. I wasn't aware if he got that rekindled, but he did, so that was good.
That's right. Unfortunately, Rory had some very small issues with his movement. He couldn't get across the laser, which means he couldn't get the rocket jump off the second slime that Willson did get. Sicky, this race might come down to Dorf and the escape.
That's true. You know, the run isn't over with trips that can just not play nice on a bad day, so we'll have to find out. Willson I don't know if he's if it's just what he does normally, that these rocket jumps being saving quite a bit of time, being frame perfect inputs. So I don't know if he's opting for these because he's trying to preserve the lead he has, or just because he's so comfortable with these tricks that he can afford to do it.
Well, we'll find out. Willson is taking his first door up attempt right now. Nails
Getting
it.
a first try, so that's going to be no potential time loss for him. You can't really ask for a better roll up than that. Rory,
Yeah.
just barely not making it past the lava there. That does mean a death for him.
That's pretty rough. I was going to say, if Roy could get there first, then Roy would have forced Willson to go for the grenade jump, whereas right now, I think Willson could just avoid the grenade jump and still win this. Willson is also watching the restream, so he knows that he has the option to avoid the grenade jump. I would not be surprised to see him go for that.
Rory making it over the lava this time. Similarly going for the rocket jump. Kind of abandoning that after the first attempt.
So let's pay attention to Willson, who's going into the poison water. Only 5 health rather than 6, which means Willson has to have pretty much perfect movement. Got out of the poison water.
Having no trouble there, and not spawning Crow at the end, which is nice. That's pretty much all it comes down to now.
Yep.
And yeah, Willson understandably not going for the grenade jump. He doesn't need it, and he knows that. So
I wholeheartedly agree with Wilson's decision. It's sort of tricky, but did Roy just get a first try door up as well, by the way?
I believe he did, yeah. So, you know, both runners having no trouble on that trick.
The thing about the final grenade jump is that it looks so cool and it's so difficult that sometimes there's a component of pride in the trick. You feel like, I'm not going to let this trick beat me, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can even be a little bit negative. You can think, like, even though Willson, had the guaranteed win, and he has one, but he had the guaranteed win visible, I could see some of the videos where people are not going to by decide to, shake it out. It's like, no, screw that. This is a raise to be a victim. So I really like that Willson just said, I'm going to win.
Yeah, there's a context there, and you can't fault someone for being smart.
I agree.
Rory's going for a 6 health swim, which means his movement can be a little more forgiving. He does have just that much more time to take damage, which he ends up capitalizing on, coming out of that with 1 health.
Yeah,
but
I think one of Rory's bashes had a win. Right with it.
He is going for the grenade jump and having no trouble with it getting it first try. That'll be GG to both runners. Willson finishing with a 32-52, I believe. If I'm reading that right.
Something like that. I have to say, this is we did expect Willson to win this going in, so it's not like this final result is unexpected. But Rory, for his part, played extremely well, and the thing that kind of makes me sad right at the end is that if Rory hadn't taken that 1 death in Horror Fields, I mean, Rory had a super clean escape there, right? He got through pretty much no problem and got a first try grenade jump.
Yeah, literally, little to no mistakes. So, basically playing at his best all the way through, save for the death in Horror Fields. So, but all things considered, yeah, considering that death, this was incredibly close. Going into the end game, I was surprised by how I wasn't about to guarantee anything after Light Burst.
I mean, going into this thing, and we will be interviewing at least Willson. I don't know about Rory yet, but we will be interviewing Willson in just a minute. And actually no, I was going to make a point, but we might as well make it when Willson is in the channel. So I am going to go ahead and pull him in now. Hello, Mr. Willson.
Hello, guys.
GG on your victory. How are you feeling?
Thanks. I'm feeling terrible. that race was so. Oh shit! Whew. I was watching Rory and I made so many mistakes. Oh my god, we're so close. We're so close. We're so close. Woo.
Well, I guess you basically just answered my follow-up question, which is just how nervous or scared were you, given that you were watching the restream, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
I mean, nothing against Rory, but I was so happy when I saw him die in Horror Fields. I was like, I can skip grenade jump in the end. I can skip it. Yes.
Yeah, it's like we had sort of we knew that you had we're of course going to opt for a lot of high level strats, and we knew that that came with the territory of high risk, high reward, but also having failed them, it could mean some trouble. But it seems like barring all that, still pulling off a really good race time and taking the win. So
I mean that front that I did. I don't know why. I knew it wasn't optimal, so I knew I had to wait for an extra jump. But at the same time, I was like, I gotta fire. I don't know, something wired wrong in my brain.
yeah, it's just some impulse or something like that.
And then after that, I lost all confidence. Didn't want to go for anything risky. It was like I could lose seconds here or whatever. It's like I gotta keep it together and just pull ahead before I do anything risky again.
That's right. Do you feel that you were rusty at all? You said you've been able to only get in a handful of runs recently, right?
Yes, this was the worst run I've ever done, dude. I can't handle nerves in this shit. I've done so many. I mean, not many runs in regard to like how many runs I've done. But yeah, I've done 4 today, and all of them were much better than this. This was so bad.
Nerves will do that to you, dude.
Yeah, it's the context of that tourney. It changes things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, to go into the bracket then, this was a lower division match, which means that with that loss, unfortunately, Rory is eliminated from the tournament. That's the nature of a tournament like this. People eventually have to be eliminated. But Willson, you are not eliminated. You have to go face your bitter rival, the man himself who upset you once before, Oshi. What do you have to say to Oshi?
It's payback time. I am so ready for this. This is gonna be the most epic stomp ever. No, but seriously, I'm a little bit scared, and but I'm also happy to have a chance to get back on Oshi for sending me down into the bracket of all nerves.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I for one will be very excited to see that match whenever it gets scheduled. So thank you, Willson, for talking with us. Siki, do you have any other questions?
I think that just about sums it up for me.
Yeah. Well, GG on your victory, dude. Even if it was a bit of a
congrats.
spaghetti fest, it worked.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah. And Rory, even though you're not here talking with us, GG to you as well. Remember going into this, Rory had said that he expected to have to PB to win, and Wilson's final time was not far behind. That was like, I think only 9 seconds or something behind Rory's PB. So yeah, Rory would have pretty much had a PB to win that.
Yeah, congrats to Rory. Still, very, very impressive run, to say the least. So.
Well, so that'll do it for us right now. We do have 2 more Ori matches today, but they're not right away. They're going to be quite a bit later, actually. The next match we have coming up, I believe, is going to be Covert Muffin versus Fant_TV at 9 p.m. I don't know which Speed Gaming channel that's on, but it'll be at 9 o'clock Eastern tonight. So tune back in later this evening or night, depending on your time zone, if you want to see more Ori. And we'll have some additional matches coming in the next handful of days as well. We're sort of getting we're getting further and further in these divisions, It's kind of exciting. Before long, we'll start to get to our division finals and then the actual, round of 16. It'll be really exciting.
Yeah, it should be coming up after this. All the runs will be, really high level and really impressive. So
that's right. And to give an update, the matches tonight are on Speed Gaming 2. Thank you, Smashy. But with that, we will be done for now. Siki, it was a pleasure commentating with you.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yep. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
See ya.
Damage as they head through. So, ooh, nice job. Wow, Yoko. Oh,
No,
my
oh no,
goodness.
Yoko. Oh my goodness. Please be careful.
He hasn't taken any really bad deaths as a result, but
Oh no.
no! Why did I say that? Why did I say that?
Yeah, true shade. So we're gonna see what D2 decides to do. Nice safety save there, and wow, the value from the safety save.
The trick itself requires precisely positioning a frog and managing your XP, but because that can happen, because that froggy has a chair and it can stomp it right on your tiny little head.
Oh god, Meldon, get out of there!
Holy crap, the recovery from that.
It's deceptive. Ooh, deceptively difficult. Rufus,
Holy
so close.
crap, Rufus.
Oh,
Oh god.
is it?
And what is happening now?
I don't know.
Oh,
Monkey shot going through.
Oh jeez, missed the double bash though. He's gotta go back up. Monkey's shots are face worth it. I hope he does not get that on the upper one. Jesus, broken his swamp.
Oh, Monkey getting hit by the shot.
Metal that Terra did. Oh, missing that, but he's got the backup. That's okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
Terra. Oh my gosh. Okay, try again. This time you can get to the platform.
What you've seen from runners like Lucidus, Uncle Ronnie, and Eviona so far in the tournament, and oh wow! I do not know how he survived.
Both runners getting that 5th.
Oh, Randomson had a really... Wow, what a nice backup, though. Randomson had trouble with the first spider shot, but now it's basically tied.
Go stomp the rocks. And oh,
Fluffy, what
I didn't know you could do that.
Oh,
You really just keep moving and skip that cutscene?
Oh god, Hori's in the air! Hello!
Oh no. Oh, Frankie. Frankie, please go away. Oh, that is so painful.
Oh, this is a party. Luckily, he does have a safety.
Yeah, mini boss not quite going according to plan. Meldon's gonna go with the stomp spam. Keep that frog away. Get out of here. Don't hit me with your chair. He says he gets through it okay, and we'll be just finishing up Misty.
The section is really difficult with the 5 health. Alright, he gets the bash off of the fish. So yeah, he gets through, but upcoming here is
He's gone through!
Oh, he died! Death! Richard is in the lead. No, they're tied. Richard just died as well.
What?
This is literally synced in the final escape, guys. Unbelievable.
They both stopped the thing together. Okay.
Each one of those grenades costs 1. He's got 1 left. That's enough for 2 grenade jump attempts. If he keeps missing in that particular way, he's got 1 chance left.
One more.
And he gets it! The
First
clutch.
try, and well, not first try, but you know what? First try.
We'll call it first try.